Hey y'all, Chelsea and Danny here.
Enjoy this episode of Today's Homeowner here on YouTube. This week on Today's Homeowner, we're taking on Mother Nature and trying to correct some of what she's messed up. Stick around. It should be a good matchup.
I'm worried this guy's going to grab the rake and beat me with it.
One thing all houses have in common is the fact that their biggest enemy is the weather. Heat or cold, rain or snow, houses take a beating from the elements. So we're tackling some repairs made necessary by the weather. We want these houses to look better, but also be better protected from the elements. In fact, the first one happens to be my house, where I've recruited my daughter Chelsea to help me refinish my front door.
I heard there was going to be lunch, so that's all.
Whatever it takes. But check this out. You know, we always have a reef here of some kind, and you can really see, look how it's peeling right off.
Yeah, I've never seen a door look like that. I guess it's going to take a while, huh?
It certainly will. And the first step is to get the door off the hinges.
So is this what it looked like when you stained it first?
Yeah, check that out. That's what I hope it looks like by the end of the day. Because painting or refinishing a door is a lot easier when it's horizontal.
Is it heavy?
Very heavy. Unfortunately, refinishing does take some time, so you'll want to cover up the opening while you're working.
I mean, would a painted door last longer in that sun, or is it really probably the same?
A lighter colored painted door would last pretty good. But still, I love a stained door.
Now, check out the finish on this. That's the way the outside of that door used to look.
Wow.
And again, that just shows you what the sun will do between that and that. Isn't that unreal?
Yucky, I don't want to look at it anymore.
I'm just going to carry it down the sawhorses.
You gonna get one in and I'll get the back end?
Mm-hmm, yep.
I liked it better when you were carrying it by yourself.
God, that looks old. That looks like some old antique house, doesn't it?
People pay good money to antique things, Dad. You could sell this on Craigslist.
To do the job right, you'll want to remove the hardware and lock set from the door first. Boy, you can really see right there the difference between that. That used to look like that. And you see the finish, how much that sun's baked it away, and just all of these flakes. Gee whiz. Of course, as with any job, safety equipment is so important. Here I got me a mask, and then I made you a special one.
Dad, that's, oh.
Yeah.
No,
Here,
this one's
no,
mine.
no, you try that on. Here, put it on. I like that.
Wow.
See, because you look happy the whole time.
just-
It looks like a little puppy dog though, right
Can you
there.
tell I'm really smirking at you? Just wait till our lunch break, see what your mask looks like.
Okay, with the grain. So you're going vertical here,
Right.
and you're going horizontal there,
Okay.
vertical here. We're using a quarter sheet pad sander with 80 grit sandpaper for the large flat areas and a triangular detail sander to get into the tight spots. How's that working?
What?
Look at this right here. It's really where we want to end up with it. It's going to take a while.
Jeez.
But
It's a lot more work than I thought. It seems like
yeah, I
it's
mean, when you
peeling
see
off,
that it's
but
all peeling off like that, you would think that it would come right off. This part of the job goes a lot quicker with power tools, but it's still a ton of work that takes a lot of time. Once the old stain is gone, we switch to a finer grit sandpaper to smooth out all of the surface. I soon realized that the molding may take forever to get down to bare wood, so we decide to simply remove the varnish from it
that looks pretty good. Wow.
before we wipe off the dust and begin applying the stain. Ah, yeah. There we go. Oh, man. That looks great, doesn't it?
I don't know. Am I doing a good job, Dad?
So far, but you're just getting started. You see how yours seems darker than mine?
Yeah. Did I do too much?
Well, you don't want to overwork it. But it doesn't take long before Chelsea gets the hang of it. Yep, that was great. And soon the whole door is stained. The next day we can apply the first of 2 coats of marine grade spar varnish that'll protect the wood from the weather. Sure looks good, like a piece of furniture. When the first coat dries, it still has a slightly rough feel, so we go over it lightly with some 400 grit sandpaper before the second coat is applied. Finally, the door is ready to be rehung. The new hardware we're putting on includes a cool new touchscreen deadbolt from Schlage that also makes getting in easier if you forgot your key. In fact, you can program the lock with several different codes to give others access if you're not at home. I just need to make sure Chelsea doesn't have one or we'll never have food in the fridge again.
There are very few caulking projects that require you to use a full tube of caulk. So it's important to find a way to seal it so you can reuse it next time. Now I've seen people use duct tape and even wire nuts to seal it, but these ideas don't really work because they don't seal out the air. And air gets in the nozzle and dries the caulk and you can't get it out. So here's an idea that works really well. After you cut it open and use some of it, plug up the nozzle with either a long steel rod, a screw, a long screw, or even just a nail. 16-penny nail, slide it in there. And then tape the end of it with some duct tape. And what that does, it seals out most of the air, and even if a little air gets inside the nozzle, you can pull out the screw or the nail and there'll be a channel so you can get the rest of the caulking out. And you can do this as many times as necessary until you use up the entire tube.
This week we're taking on projects brought about by Mother Nature.
That used to look like that.
We've already restored the sun parched finish on my front door. Now we're about to help Lori Bloom with some damaged siding and a patio that's a little less attractive than she'd like. We started by cleaning the mold and mildew off the patio before I met with Lori to discuss the next step.
Danny, this patio looks so much better just by power washing it.
Yeah, it's amazing. We used a little TSP, trisodium phosphate, to kind of loosen things up and then spraying it off. But what I was amazed at is how different it is out where it's been raining versus what's been covered.
Right, there's such a difference where the rocks are showing on this area.
Yeah, I know it. The stain will kind of camouflage that a little
Well,
bit.
good.
You still may have a little bit.
So much of
Yeah, you still may have
contrast.
a little bit there, but of course this is the thing I saw here that we're going to have to deal with. Apparently the reinforcement wire that they put in the original slab, a little close to the surface, and you've probably has aggravated you ever since you've seen
It
that.
has. I hate this little divot in the concrete.
Yeah. Also noticed it's like some craft project got a little out of hand
Oh, I'm
there.
sure.
Yeah, so we got some lacquer thinner. Maybe we can get that up, and then after that we can go ahead and move forward with maybe some of the scoring and see what else we can do here. But Alan's on his way out with some of the fiber cement siding. I know you have some of the hardboard siding, like so many people, that you have a few problems. So he'll be able to get out here with those materials pretty soon.
Well, good. My father's on his way, so I'll let him handle that
perfect,
pallet.
perfect. Yeah, they can have it out in the sun, and we can kind of stay
underneath the cover.
right here. All right, well, let's get started with this then.
Okay.
First, we remove any flaking concrete with a chisel before sweeping out the loose rocks and dust. Then we dampen the concrete with a wet brush so the fast-setting concrete we're mixing up doesn't dry out too quickly. The fast-setting concrete can be applied with a putty knife or trowel. Basically, you fill the void and smooth it all flush with the surrounding surface, then wait for it to dry. The paint splatters may be a little more difficult though, so we're using some lacquer thinner to soften the paint before the scraping begins.
You can see that I use this patio to do a lot of painting sometimes.
Everybody does, I'll tell you. You see a lot of times where people will spray something and they have the paper out there and not enough paper.
That's how I've got paint marks. Well, there it goes. It's starting to come up now.
The wire brush seems to be effective, but it takes a lot of elbow grease.
It's a stubborn paint stain.
Yeah, it's soaked in. That's what it is. You know, when you have something here, you know, this has never been sealed. That's one of the things, once we get it stained and sealed, it'll be a lot more resistant, you know, to stains and paint.
Good, because I can't promise that I won't do any more painting projects out here.
While the paint stain soaks in a little more lacquer thinner, we do a little planning for our next step. I wanted to ask you about the score joints and how we can do the score joints. You know, you see people that get real elaborate and they put all kinds of
Oh, I've
score
seen
joints.
some fancy work on concrete patios before.
I don't think it's really necessary on that, but what I was going to suggest, I was looking at it yesterday when we were cleaning it, is to come just this side of that column just a little bit. So that would probably be, say, 14 inches off that edge.
Right.
Same all the way around, and then just cut that one border around.
That'll look nice.
Just one thing, kind of defines, you know, the outside part of it. And then just simply one right down the middle, and then one straight across, which probably that column's going to hit just about where that middle one would be. Then you kind of have it divided up in, you know,
4 sections.
4 sections, a lot of symmetry to it. And then after we stain it, I think it's going to really look good.
That would look good.
So once we finish removing the paint stain, we begin laying out our border. This is important because the circular saw we'll use to cut the concrete has a guard that prevents it from running all the way up to the wall along the edges. Okay, you reach out there and pop it one time.
Okay.
Pull it up an inch or so, and there you go. The magic string. The pattern can really be any design that you want, but be sure that you have it like you want in chalk before you break out the saw. All right, perfect. Hey, this looks good. Gives you a good idea what it's going to look like once we get everything scored out.
Yeah, you can already see it coming along now. Oh, here's my dad. He came.
Now it looks like trouble. How you doing?
Hey, this is
Butch,
Danny.
how you doing?
Nice
Nice
to
to
meet
meet you, Danny.
And Alan, you know.
Hey, Alan.
Hey,
how are you?
Good, good.
So you can get an idea what it's going to look like now, huh?
Yeah, it looks good. It looks like y'all drawn it out and you're ready to go.
Yeah, all we got to do now is cut everything, and we got. Did you get that abrasive blade I need?
I've got 2 abrasive blades because I'm going to have one out front with that fiber cement siding. Lori, I just had an epiphany.
Yes.
4 different color stains and a giant Andy Warhol. Bam, right here.
There we go.
I love it.
No, we're going one stain,
Okay.
one sealer, and it's going to be awesome.
I think it's going to look great. Let's get some saw blades.
Yeah, let's get this off.
Let's go.
Alan and Butch are going to tackle the damaged hardboard siding around the corner of Lori's house, but it looks like they have an unwanted helper.
Yeah, I got to tell you this, Butch. I can work with pretty much anybody. Almost anybody.
Almost.
I have to work with Danny Lipford. I can work with almost anybody.
Well, you know.
But Godzilla over here, it's not going to work. This
Listen,
guy,
I've raised him from a baby.
you know what worries me more than anything? I'm worried this guy's going to grab the rake and beat me with it.
See, there he comes.
Here he goes. Come on now. You
Once
just
the
can't
spider
see
is
it.
safely
That's right.
exiled to the neighbor's
I'm
yard,
going to give you to another.
He's got your...
Go visit.
Butch and Alan can resume thinning the shrubs to make room for their work. While they do that, let's check in with Jody for this week's best new product.
You know, if you're trying to grow a garden or have a beautiful lawn, water is your best friend, but on any other surface, it can be your biggest nightmare. Things like wood or concrete, metal, plastic. Until now, take a look at this. Rust-Oleum has come out with this product called Never Wet. It's a 2-step process, and it's pretty good because it's a multi-surface liquid repelling treatment. And it works virtually on anything. I love the picture on the back of this box right here because this shows exactly how it would work on an untreated surface like your work boots, something as simple as your work boots. You spray it on and virtually makes them water, mud, and ice repellent. Also, you can put it on work gloves, something like these leather gloves here. Just spray on the application, let it dry, and again, it's ready to go. You can also put it on, say, your planter boxes to preserve them because over time, a cedar planter box will actually start to break down. So this is a very quick, easy application, and after you do just these few steps, all your things will be water repellent and cleaner longer.
This week we're making repairs and improvements to combat the effects of Mother Nature on our home. Lori and I have cleaned and repaired her patio, and now we're upgrading the look of the patio by scoring shallow grooves into the surface. The piece of plywood Lori is standing on serves as a straight edge for my saw. This is really important for cutting long lines, especially in a rough surface like concrete. This process is relatively simple, but incredibly noisy and dusty. It's also a bit time consuming because you have to move the saw through the concrete very slowly. Meanwhile, Alan and Butch are done landscaping and wrangling spiders.
You're awful brave against that little spider.
You don't bring the big one back.
And they're ready to go to work.
I see right now there's one little problem here, Butch. When you're talking about lap siding, I mean, if you look at it, every piece is on top of another piece.
Correct.
When you get down here to the bottom, instead of cantilevered out, it's flat down. So there's no starter piece.
Okay.
So we're gonna
I
put a
see.
starter piece up first.
Oh, okay, that'll work.
But before that starter strip goes up, the old damaged siding has to come off.
I'll start on this end,
All right. Fire from the bottom and
bring
just...
the bottom up and pull the bottom too.
The process is pretty simple. You pry off the boards one at a time, working from the bottom up. As the boards pull away from the wall, they come loose from the nails that hold them beneath the course above.
That's it.
The only real difficulties are there are penetrations like this garden hose spigot. There you just have to pick away at the siding one small piece at a time.
It's all rotted except in that one spot.
Yeah, the one spot.
Meanwhile, Lori and I have finished cutting and we're ready to clean up. Lots of dust, huh?
It sure did make a lot of dust. So what do we do next?
Well, what we're gonna do is dump our stain. We've got this translucent water-based stain. Golden wheat is what you picked out, so that sounds good. I'll cut around the edges with a paintbrush.
Okay.
And I'll let you do the rolling. I'll let you do the fun part.
So you just roll it right on?
Yeah, just roll it on. We just
Okay.
want it real thin and real even.
Okay, sounds good.
Like wood stains, this stuff is super thin, so it pours more like water than paint. It's not paint, so it's just real thin. Yeah.
Just like that?
Yeah, and just, it'll go a long way. This is supposed to get handle up to almost 400 square feet.
Oh, so it really does go on thin.
Yeah, what you're seeing right there is just what we want to end up
Okay.
with. This isn't gonna take long at all, Lori.
No, this seems to be going on pretty quick.
Yeah.
So about how long will it take for this to dry?
Oh, it dries to touch in about an hour and a half, and foot traffic after about 4.
Okay.
Now see, all the people in the neighborhood are gonna want you to come and do their patios now.
Oh, they are. They're going to be jealous.
I know it. Pick you up some extra money. You know, actually, this is a pretty easy way to put it on, as long as you get it nice and even. You can also use a pump-up sprayer, like a garden sprayer.
Oh,
Works
yeah.
pretty good. We're gonna be finished pretty soon here. I don't know about that other crew.
I don't know what they're doing over there, but
Yeah, they're just making a lot of noise. Besides the banging, there's also a fair amount of sawing as Alan cuts the fiber cement siding that they're using to replace the damaged hardboard. But before the new siding goes up, Alan and Butch are tacking a vapor barrier over the exposed wood sheathing to protect it from future moisture. Fiber cement works best when it's blind nailed. That means the nails go in the top of each piece so that the row above it covers the fasteners. Occasionally, there are old nails that have to be clipped to allow you to slide the last piece behind the existing siding. This row also attaches a little differently.
Since this is the insert run, we can't blind nail it.
Okay.
But rather than nail from the bottom into this, and we don't need to do that, we're going to nail through this one
that.
into this one.
I see.
So we've got 2 to go through. All right. One more piece and we're done.
Looking good.
The last 2 pieces are seamed around the spigot with small notches cut in each. This arrangement means we don't have to call a plumber to remove and reinstall the valves. Now around back, once the stain has dried on the patio, there's one last step. Lori seemed very pleased with the color of her patio, and I really like this type of stain, a translucent stain that allows a little bit of the character of the concrete to kind of shine right through. But it's about to look a lot better because I have some waterproofing sealer that I just put in a pump-up sprayer. It makes it so easy to apply it, and it'll give it a little more of a finished look and also add even more protection. Once you coat an area, you back roll it with a roller to even out the finish. While I do that, check out this question we received recently from one of our viewers. Rob is asking, is it difficult to install a peephole in a front door? No, it's not a hard project at all to install a peephole in any type door, including a metal door like this one. I just installed this one a few minutes ago. The main thing is to position your peephole at the right height for the person that'll be answering the door the most. I have seen people even put a second peephole in for the kids, but it all starts with measuring. Measure exactly where you want it, then use the right size drill bit, but don't drill all the way through the door, even if it's a metal door. You want to go until you see the drill bit starting to emerge, then go around to the other side and drill back through so that you don't have any splintering or any damage to the door. Then the peephole comes apart, 2 different pieces, you screw it in, tighten it up, and you're through. That way, next time someone knocks on the door, you'll know who it is. This week, we've done some weather rehab on both wood and concrete surfaces, as well as some repairs that involve a little of both. In each case, we made the surface more attractive, but more importantly, we protected them from the future effects of the elements. Now there's nothing left but the decorating. Now, Your neighbors are going to want one of these because everybody in the neighborhood has a concrete patio. So will you be able to handle this? And what about the scoring, the joints there with a saw?
Well, I know how to do it now. I am a perfect director for it.
Well, it was a little messy, a little intimidating with all the dust and such, but we love being able to show you these very common repairs that a lot of homeowners face, and hopefully we've been able to share with you the right amount of information that you can do it yourself. Hey, thanks so much for being with us this week. I'm Danny Lipford. We'll see you next week here on Today's Homeowner. I see the spoiled one around here.
Oh, yeah.
I love her mask. Thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner. And don't forget to like, comment, and hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified of new videos.
And be sure to click around and watch some more videos while you're here.